I want you guys to want to be here. I know it gets a little sticky sometimes, but I want you guys to want to be here. I want you guys to find the little things joyful, however which way. I want you guys to experience peace. Hey guys, welcome to the Rise Podcast. I'm your host, Tashana Roper, and here we talk about all things related to Christ, mindset, and self development. So, if that's something that you're into, I would say that you are most definitely in the right place. However, maybe you don't know. Maybe you don't know if this is the right place for you, and so that's why you're here and you're trying to figure it out. So, I encourage you to stay a while, but absolutely no pressure. No pressure. So, guys, I wanted to talk to you today about mindset. I've mentioned mindset before in my previous videos and just how, it's important for us as people to work on our minds and how it can really change your life. And, I really do stand on that. However, I think it does help to give you guys a bit of a foundation towards what mindset really is and how one really starts to work on their mind. And so, I do want to take the time to talk about that today in this video. But before I do get into that, guys, I do want to just put out there, I understand it's not every day you're gonna want to work on your mind. It's not every day you want to have a positive attitude. It's just not every day. I'm speaking from my own personal experience. As much as I advocate for mindset, as much as I love the mind, I don't always have a good mindset, and I don't even always want to have a good mindset. I just know that it's beneficial to have a good mindset, and I've seen that play out in my life. I've seen that play out in other people's life, and so, if I can help it play out in your life, I'm happy to do so. Let me just get into it and tell you guys Wagwan so that, hopefully you can add this into your life and just bring some peace. Bring some peace into your life because that's what I feel like mindset does. Mindset gives you a sense of peace. But, anyways, if one were to ask me, like, Tashana, what is mindset? How do you look at mindset? I'd literally just say it's what it sounds like. I'm joking, no. Mindset, though, like ultimately, it's the way that you choose to set your mind, how you choose to look at whatever set situation. And I feel like if you're able to take whatever situation that's been given to you, so for instance, if you don't have any money to your name right now, but you choose to say, you know what, I don't have any money yet, the money will surely come, and you choose not to focus on what you don't have, I think that's what mindset is. I think mindset is literally just looking at the brighter side of things. When you don't have a good mindset, I think life can be really dark. And when you do have a good mindset, I think you're able to see a bit more light. To kind of put it more into perspective, I'm going to give you guys a little bit of a case and scenario, if you will. You got two people, both in a dark room, both with the same amount of light. Person A, they say, you know what, I'm so irritated, so dark in this room, get me out. I hate life. I can't stand it. Like, I actually want no parts to do with this. I'm irritated. That's person A. Person B says, you know what? Even though there's all this darkness, I can still see the light, and that's what I'm going to choose to focus on. And as a result, they're more happy, they're more content, they're more at peace. That is how I look at mindset. And that is how I feel like we need to look at mindset because we all have a darkness to us. And by that, I mean, there's something in our life that we would just rather, like we honestly would rather not deal with that. But we can always control set events in our lives. We can't necessarily control the unfortunate things that may happen, but we can control how we respond to them. And so I think if you choose to focus on your darkness, if you choose to focus on your lack, well, you're going to see some more darkness. You're going to experience a little bit more lack. But when you choose to focus on the light, when you choose to focus on the brighter side of things, it's not to say you don't worry. It's not to say you don't have your days, but you just ultimately, you choose to put your energy elsewhere. And when you focus on gratitude and the things that you do have, if you will, more just comes your way. When you find a different way to look at such situation, things bother you less. And so that's a little bit of a spiel there, but I also would like to give you guys a little bit more of a deeper definition of what mindset really is according to the dictionary, and just two different types of mindsets that we often operate in. But starting off with the dictionary, the definition, Mm-mm. Starting off with the dictionary's definition. Mindset is a mental attitude or inclination and or a flexible cognitive framework of beliefs about your abilities. And because I like to define the words within a definition, I'm going to go ahead and tell you guys that inclination is the tendency to do or say something, okay? To tell you guys the two different types of mindsets that people operate in, it's either going to be fixed or growth. Now, I will say there are many types of mindsets that people operate in. However, the two main ones I feel people operate in is a fixed and growth mindset. And even though it's kind of in the name, I'm going to go ahead and tell you guys the definition for it. So, a fixed mindset is the belief that abilities are innate and unchangeable. And a growth mindset is the belief that intelligence, talents, and abilities are not fixed traits, but can be developed over time through dedication, effort, and continuous learning. So why do I share this with you guys? I mean, one, it helps to understand a little bit more about what mindset is, but I also want to put something into perspective for you guys because, I'm not perfect. No one is. And you know what? Like, I believe her name is Carol Dweck, and she's a Stanford psychologist. She's the one that kind of talks about the fixed and growth mindsets, if you will. And she said that we don't necessarily operate in one or the other, but that we operate in the two depending on case and scenario. So I can still very well have a fixed mindset somewhere else and have a growth mindset somewhere else. But what I kind of want to say right now is that there are some people who kind of just stay fixed. They don't believe that they can change. They don't believe that they can do anything about their life because life is just the way that it is. And I disagree with that. I do believe that you can change the way that you see things, the way that things happen in your life. Now, you can't always change set events, but like I said earlier, you can change the way that you look at them. And when you can change the way that you can look at something, I think ultimately that can change a lot of things because perspective and perception is everything. I think a lot of the times when people carry that fixed mindset, that just comes from childhood. My theory is really just, as children, we are having constant information thrown at us from our parents, family, friends, teachers. Like, there's just so much information coming to us, and kids are like sponges, okay? They absorb everything. They don't really filter out the things that's being said to them, even if they don't say anything about it, like somewhere in the subconscious mind, it has a place. And then we begin to live life with these things that people has told us but has nothing to do with us in the first place. So for instance, like someone could have said to you, you're a terrible reader. And because they said that to you, you felt away at a time. You did feel away. But as you grew up, you began to say, I don't like reading. Reading is stupid. Like whatever you say, but you just have this hate towards reading. And that may not even be because you really hate books, but it's because someone made you feel like crap when you were reading a book. And now you don't want to go back to that place where you felt like crap, so you just dismiss it altogether. But then what good is it for yourself if you never even pick up a book? Books carry knowledge. Books carry the information that we not ultimately, but give or take, that we need in life to do whatever said thing. You may avoid reading altogether. How are you going to avoid reading? You got to look at the directions. You don't want to read it because you don't want to feel stupid. And this is just an example. The list is endless. I think, without really knowing, again, the subconscious mind comes into agreement with these things and we begin to just live life a certain way. And it's not always beneficial. It's not always pleasing. So I feel like when we're aware of a growth mindset, when we're aware of the fact that we can change said things about ourselves, then ultimately I think it opens the door for many more things that you can work on or experience in life, if you will. So with that being said, you ask me why mindset is important. I look at it the very thing that helps you to either live a dull life or live a happy life. Happiness is a state of mind. It's not about what you have, so to speak. The richest person could have all the money and not necessarily be happy because internally they're not okay. And so it's really the lens with how you see life, right? So, I don't know, that's how kind of how I see it. But how can you incorporate it into your life? You know, everyone's different. I can tell you guys, you can read books. You can read self-help books if you'd like. You can practice meditation. I know meditation has a little bit of a controversy. It's a controversy topic, as you know, as a Christian. I will say, I don't think there's anything wrong with mind's meditation particularly. I'm not going to get too much into this one, but it's not, because really meditation is just sitting with yourself in stillness and listening to your thoughts as they pass by. Pay attention to your thoughts as they pass by. What thoughts are yours? What thoughts are literally from Satan? And what thoughts are from God? You know, it's not necessarily about hand positionings and saying mantras. I am not going to get into that today, but it's not that. I really just think it's sitting with yourself. Another person can say affirmations. Yes, you can practice affirmations, but again, I think that's the same thing that has a lot of I think that's why there's a lot of misconceptions with mindset, because people think it's just affirmations. You can say all the affirmations if you want, all you want. I don't think that's the main thing to mindset. Mindset is looking at your situation and choosing to alter it. It's not disregarding said thing. If you wake up every morning and say your life is perfect, but your life is not perfect, eventually you're going to get irritated because your life is not perfect. But if you wake up in the morning and you say, you know what? I'm blessed for my life. I'm grateful for my life. I have this and I have that. Well, I think it helps a bit better. And with that being said, I feel like I may have jumped over something, but I'm going to go right here and say, with that being said, I say to you guys, how can one work on mindset? Well, for me, it started with one, stop reacting to everything. Don't get me wrong, I have my days. Sometimes I think people actually need that for real. But that is not the mindset. Okay, that's me being honest. That's me being very truthful. But it's not ultimately the thing that you want to do. You do not want to give people a reaction all the time. If not, you want to give them a very little reactions. When you can kind of control how you respond to people, then you can kind of control yourself a little bit more. That's how I started. I was a crash out. Gonna crash out every single time. Do not irritate me for real, because I'm gonna crash out. And that's kind of how I was. And as a result, I experienced a lot of moments that would make me want to crash out, a lot of moments that did not necessarily make me happy, because I couldn't control myself. I couldn't control my mind. And, you know, I really don't know how I got to mindset. I just have to give God thanks. But, you know, I know one of the main things that really helped was gratitude. I've mentioned it a little bit throughout this video, but that's what I want to tell you guys about. Gratitude. What is gratitude? Does anybody know what gratitude is? I feel like a teacher who's in the class waiting for somebody to put up their hands and nobody's putting up their hands, and I'm gonna pick on you. Anyways, brother. Anyways, no, gratitude is really just being thankful for the things that you have. You know, I went from waking up in the mornings and feeling there was nothing to be grateful for. I never thought much of it, to be honest. I would just wake up and, you know, go about my days. But looking back in today's time, I did not wake up in a good state of mind. I was not okay. Like, not that I wasn't okay, but I wasn't okay because I just wasn't focusing on everything that I had. I was focusing on what I didn't have. I wasn't where I wanted to be in life. And it was just irritating. And so you wake up in the morning, and I would just wake up in the morning and I was just irritated. But when I started to work on gratitude, okay, mind you, again, not the thing that I thought I was going to work on, I actually came across gratitude because of meditation. And that's why I don't discredit meditation, even though part of me feels like I'm not supposed to get into it for this video, so I'm not going to say too much. I don't want to say too much. Bouche. Anyways, no, I got into gratitude because of said thing. And when I would wake up in the morning and list 3 things that I was grateful for, it just kind of set the tone. And it doesn't have to be drastic, guys. Like, I literally would struggle to find what to say that I'm grateful for, even though there was like everything to be grateful for. This is my point, guys. This is my point. Gratitude will change your life. Gratitude and mindset, they go together. Because when I'm telling you guys that I would wake up in the morning and feel like I had nothing to be grateful for. Are you kidding me? I have a roof over my head. My body is in one piece and I'm breathing. That's 3 things right there. And so, I mean, at the time, it may not have seemed sufficient, because as people, we want more. We want the Lamborghini. We want to go travel across the world. We want to do all these extravagant things, and that is okay. But sometimes you just gotta, like, you know, the way that it's said, and whatever, I don't even know how to word this, but the way that it's said in the Christian faith, if you will, I don't even know if this is particularly the Christian faith. I know it's said in a different wording, but like if you can't be grateful for the things that you got, who the hell is going to give you more? Who's going to give you more? If you only see lack, and if you're always dissatisfied with the things in life, how do you expect to be satisfied? Like, no, honestly, tell me. Like, I'll actually sit down and wait. Like, I'll actually wait. You will not be satisfied. You can't be satisfied. What you focus on is what you will attract. That is a true statement, okay? So if you're always focusing on the things that you don't have, well, whoop de doo. You don't got nothing, even though you have everything. When you focus on the things that you do have, man, it opens up some doors, let me tell you. Even if me, I'm not exactly where I want to be right now, but you better believe that I am grateful for exactly where I am today. Even when I have my days, I'm going to keep it a buck because, like I said, mindset, I don't know if I said it, but I will say it right now. Mindset is not a linear thing. There are some ups and downs with mindset. There are going to be some days where you just would rather. Okay, you don't want to hear it for real. You are annoyed. You are sad. You are whatever it is. That is okay to feel. Again, mindset is just also understanding, like, you may feel like this, but what about this? It's not disinvalidating your feelings. You sit with your feelings for as long as you need to, but at some point you need to bounce back and say, you know what? At least I'm breathing. I'm breathing, and so I have another chance to try again. That is what mindset is. It's not anything cringy. It's not. It's absolutely not anything cringy. I'm trying to think of like the things that people often have said to me in regards to mindset. But I think one of the biggest things is people just saying, well, that's not my reality. But like maybe change that mindset because again, that is a mindset. That's not your reality, yes. But here's the two difference. That's not my reality, so I'm gonna work on mindset. That's not my reality, but I can understand how I can change my mind to work in my favor. Do you see what I'm saying? Anyways, guys, I just wanted to put that out there, give you guys a little bit of a foundation towards what mindset is. I will say one more thing to put this into perspective because, as I said, like, you do need to work on your mind so that you can better your life. I'm gonna say this much, you know, I'm in Canada. This is Canada. This is Canada. No, this is my room. But I live in Canada and we experience winter here. I wouldn't dare walk outside in no bikini, no shorts or t-shirt when it's minus 40 outside because I would freeze to death. I would be uncomfortable. That's silly because it's not beneficial to do. And in the same way, I look at mindset as well, like working on your mind and self-development and growth as the same thing because you can't want better for yourself. You can't want to change and want to experience life in its blissfulness when you're stuck in life sucks. Everything happens to me, not for me, because it happens for you, not to you. There's some benefit. You just got to find it. If you can't alter your mind to work in your favor, how are you going to grow? You're never going to see anything good. I want you guys to see the good. Life is never as bad as we think. Yes, it has its days. Shoot, it be having its months, years. But God is so good. And, even though I wasn't really going to add this part in here, I just had to say mindset and God go together. I have another video that talks about God and, I'll probably be posted around the same time period. So guys, I just can't speak today. So please be sure to check out that one once you've seen this one or which way. But God is so good. Like, he's really going to help you in changing your mind. I did not get here on my own. Okay. 9 times out of 10, it was after I crashed out to God where he then gave me a perspective, a different heart posture, man. Guys, I got a video for God because he's so good. I love him. I love me some God. Anyways, guys, I hope this video helped. Please, if you didn't hear anything, all I'm really just trying to say is that you guys, it's important for you to work on your mind because when you don't work on your mind, life can be pretty crappy. When you work on your mind, life never seems so bad or it isn't that bad. And I want you guys to want to be here. I know it gets a little sticky sometimes, but I want you guys to want to be here. I want you guys to find the little things joyful, however which way I want you guys to experience peace. And one of the best ways to do that is working on your mind. So I leave you guys with some homework. Sorry to be that teacher, if you will. This is not the first day of school. Anyways, I want to leave you guys with some homework. I kind of mentioned it already. Start waking up in the mornings and listing the 3 things that you're grateful for. Please start your day with gratitude. You know, if you don't believe in God, you don't got to say thank you, God, for this. But thank you that I have this, in timing. Anyways, not too much. Guys, I love you. Take care of yourselves, please. Thank you for tuning into the Rise podcast. Again, I am your host, Tashana Roper, and I will see you guys on the next episode. In the next episode, a little bit of both. Goodbye for now.